I just think that sometimes we get so focused on the health side of the equation that we forget there's a health side of equation to the business being shut down.
Absolutely, and it's not a choice between the economy or public health. We can do both, and actually we have to do both. At the county, we spend over $2 billion a year on health and human services, and every year we need more money. And we can't have a functioning health system without a functioning economy. We need both. And have we found the perfect way out of the virus? No. We have to learn to live with the virus. And to do that, we got to try different things. We just can't hunker down indefinitely. We have to venture out and discover what's out there and what risks that we have to take. And all of us are learning. You know, in the very beginning, they told us 2 weeks tops. Then they said, no, you don't really need masks. Now you do. A lot of public officials thought the protests were okay. Now we're testing a lot of more positive people, and a lot of them are, the average age now is 37. A lot more younger people are testing positive, and everyone's afraid to admit that any of it's tied to the protests. You know, every person who wants the economy to shut down entirely has a guaranteed job. We have to get our businesses back open again. I really don't like the approach of going out into businesses that are operating potentially illegally. I don't want to be shutting down the guy who's doing haircuts in his garage, or the hairdresser who's trying to put money on food on their plate or pay their rent. I think that's a little draconian. We do have some areas that need attention, the most egregious, but businesses have to survive in order for the economy and the government to survive and provide the services.
Well, it's become a moving target, hasn't it? We have a graphic. This is from this is the only one I could find from Riverside County. If we could throw it, I don't know if you can see it, but we started out with that stay-at-home order. We were going to flatten the curve, which I think we did. Then the protests hit in late May, and the numbers started going up. But I think that could be attributed not only to the protests, but the increased testing. Then we closed the bars, and then we shortly thereafter we had the mask mandate, and the numbers continued to climb. I beg the question to you, sir, are we trying to do something that maybe, viruses do what viruses do, and we can run from them, but we can't hide? Does that make any sense?
That absolutely makes sense. Like I said, we have to learn how to live with the viruses. And quite frankly, even though the numbers have increased, if you look at, depending on what chart and data you're looking at, but the cases of hospitalization rate, the case hospitalization rate, in April, it was 25%. You had in April you had the virus, 25% of the chance you're in the hospital. Now it's down to 9%. Even on the deaths, the death rate has gone down by a third to the case rate. So, people there are more cases out there, but it's not necessarily the cases. It's the harm that's being done. And I think we really need to focus on the virus itself instead of going after people, maybe having church services or people, operating out of their garages, their houses. We have to focus on biggest part on the underlying conditions. 95% of the people that die from the virus have underlying conditions.
Well, let me interrupt you there. Just because this, it's all on what you focus on, because you bring up underlying conditions. This was the headline yesterday from our health department as it related to the daily update. Wednesday, this is the health headline. 6 out of 10 adult San Diegans could have severe illness if they contract the novel coronavirus because of those underlying conditions you're bringing up. Well, why do we focus on a scary stat like that and not the recovery rate, or the fact that 80% of us will be asymptomatic, even if we do contract the novel virus?
Well, it depends on the narrative you want to believe, I guess. But I think like I said, it's not a choice one or the other, public health or the economy. It's both, and we have to do that. And yes, it is a scary virus. Yes, it is killing people. Yes, we need to control it. Yes, we have to do all of those things. But at the same time, we have to live our lives. And quite frankly, in my opinion, we should if you look at the statistics for young children 18 and older, not one person has died in the state under the age of 17 from the coronavirus. So, and we're depriving our children of their learning years. Even the businesses don't have weeks to wait. They just can't wait indefinitely. A study was just done by Yelp where 60% of the restaurants that had to close the second time because of COVID-19 are going to be closed permanently. You know, people just don't have the amount of time to wait. If you're in your 40s or your 50s and you have to go out now and try to find a new job because your business shut down, it's going to be, you know, the stress and anxiety of that also plays in. So there's a lot of factors. We got to learn to live with this. We have to try and do different things. And there's no one right answer. But if we just say everybody hunker down forever and only come out, you know, when it's safe, that's never going to happen. We have to learn to live with it and do the right things.
All right, well, the next time we chat, Mr. Desmond, we'll talk about how much faith that you have in the data numbers, and we'll have a metric conversation as to some of those red lights that I don't ever see turning green for a long time. But we'll save that for a later day. Have a great weekend, sir, coming up.
Thanks a lot, Paul. Take care.